Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy Will, doing his best, trying to do things with his brain. Welcome back to the podcast. This is Words Are Hard, and I'm your host Will. I feel like it's a little awkward saying that because I'm pretty sure the only people who listen to this are people that I know. So like, yeah, of course I know. Will, stop introducing yourself every time. But in the hopes that maybe someone else will watch this one day, I just have to be a little tad bit professional. So I feel like quite a bit has happened since the last time I filmed the podcast. First of all, the reason the last podcast was almost late was because I didn't know this, but apparently there was a hurricane. I can't pronounce the name of the hurricane, but it wiped out my power all day Tuesday, which was my day off, which sucked because then I spent all day in the heat and no air conditioning. And it was the day that I was going to edit the podcast. So we lost power, I think, around 10:30. And then I was like literally working on the new logo for the podcast too. And just like it flickered, and before I could even like think about saving the project, it just gone. Luckily though, when I turned the computer back on later that night, Adobe had actually saved my project for me, so that was a absolute lifesaver. But yeah, it was pretty intense. Like, so there was a hurricane, and I didn't know about it, so I didn't prepare. So like my charging bank wasn't full, and I like stayed off my phone all day because I did try to charge my phone and the charging bank before power went out, but I didn't really have that much time, and it was. I haven't been around for a hurricane in a long time, so it was kind of nice to just spend that time listening to the rain and the wind and stuff, so that was pretty cool. But then we so there's this branch in our backyard that was like, it's not a branch, it was half of a tree that was like stuck between it, like it had broken off its tree and then was like stuck between that roots branch or whatever, and then it was like hanging on another tree. So it was so windy during the hurricane that it like fell and was hanging from its like branches from the one tree, and then it finally fell. I actually got it on video, and God, that was so cool. I'll play it over this for those of you who are going to watch the podcast on YouTube. And I guess everyone watches the podcast because the podcast isn't anywhere else. Either way, and it fell, and it like literally it decapitated one of my mom's like iron chickens or whatever, and it was just, I literally like, I put my shoes on, I set up the camera, I turned it on, I walked outside, and as soon as I got outside, the branch was like falling from the tree over onto the ground, crushed one of our spinners. In the video, you just see a spinner standing, and then just like, boom, it's gone. It was like a fun day in that aspect, but it definitely like it threw a wrench into my life a little bit. And then yesterday, I actually ended up having to go to work because my store lost power that day, like a half an hour after we did, and they didn't get it back until I guess sometime last night after close. I don't know. I was on standby all day, and then I never had to work. So instead of working, I actually went and I got myself a new desk, which it was free. Someone from high school, someone that I went to high school with was just giving away this desk, and they're like, "Hey, can someone come pick this up? Like, we don't want it." And it's this beautiful big like corner of the room. I don't know if there's a word for it. Desks, and it's all glass and like this black metal, and it's pretty easy to put together too. I mean, it took me like an hour and a half just between moving my old desks, cleaning up, and then putting the desk together. I was like, I think I got home right around 9, and then I wasn't finished until 10:30. So yeah, I like finished right at 10:30 too. It was really weird. And then I finally set everything up, and it's like it really created like a new inspiration for me. I don't know. It makes me feel like cleaner, if that makes any sense. I literally it doesn't make sense, but that I guess that's fine. Sorry guys, I feel like my brain doesn't want to do it today. I'm only on my first cup of coffee. But I have been looking into like Adobe After Effects because I want to try to create like a cool little animated intro for the podcast, or I kind of want to create an intro that goes to the song that I've chosen that you heard at the beginning and the end of the last podcast and the beginning of this one. Just to kind of like step up the quality of it. I'm not in any rush just because I'm what is this, the third one? The third podcast that I made. So obviously it's going to take a while before I find my groove. Like my voice already hurts right now. That's like I'm not going to last long this time around. What's our time looking at? See, we're not even 10 minutes in, and I spent like a minute and a half trying to sync the audio, and I'm already like, wow, is it over? My brain is having such a hard time concentrating. I'm really like truly convinced that I have some type of attention deficit or attention problem. I'm also not very hydrated. I feel like, first of all, hydro flasks are such a great investment. I don't remember how, see, like this, my brain. See, I feel like I would have much better time on this podcast with another person, which is why I tried to do it so long with another person. But that just really didn't happen. Now I'm thinking, like, I do want to have guests. And I think this setup is a little bit better. It might be a lot easier to have a guest now that I feel like my room is... It has a better vibe now. That's the only way that I can describe it. I feel professional. Is that okay? Can I feel professional? I don't know. What is this? What is this entire podcast already? Oh, did you guys hear about Ellen? Holy fucking shit. All I saw at first was like there was like a campaign to replace her on Twitter, and then I mentioned something to my mom, then I Googled it, and then I saw all the articles about her being a predator, or she was sexually harassing people, and people on her staff were sexually harassing other people on the staff, and it was just... It looked like a whole ass mess. Like, I don't know. It really sucks, too, because, like, I used to be a big fan of Ellen, and, I mean, recently it was kind of like, oh. She's, like, one of those rich people that just doesn't care about anybody else. But, man. Like, why are all the powerful people shitty? Does money corrupt, or does money attract corrupt people? That's the question. Sorry, I had to take some water, y'all. I'm tired. I feel like I slept pretty well. I just didn't sleep very long. I got like 6 hours, like on the dot. And it was weird because I slept from like 1:36 a.m. to 7:36 a.m. Like, how weird is that? There was something else. Oh, I've been trying to like play around with. So I have the type of camera that I have. Not that you care. Is a what is it? It's a Sony Handycam FDR AX33. So it's a camcorder, and it takes great video. It can do video in 4K, but I don't do that because 4K footage is like 1 GB every 30 seconds or some shit. It's something insane. All I know is that I do not have enough memory cards or big enough memory cards to, like film a whole podcast in 4K, and then the footage is going to take like twice as long as it already does to export and upload to YouTube, and I just really don't have the type of equipment that 4K footage requires. And honestly, I don't want to be showing y'all my face in 4K either. Just because, like, I mean, I know I'm pretty, but I'm not that pretty. No one's truly pretty enough to look good in 4K. And now they're talking about 8K, and it's like, bro, you do not need to see the depths of my pores. You really don't. I will say though, for things like photography, like getting picked like mountains or that's what I started saying, talking about the camera for, is because it also takes really good pictures, and although it is a camcorder, I'm able to mess with the focus a lot, or a fair amount for a camcorder. And so I can actually create some types of depth of field in in a photo, like when I've been trying to I guess I don't know. I don't even know how to say what I'm doing because I don't know that much about it. But I've been trying to learn more about photography, and I want to buy a camera soon, but so the other day, yesterday? No, the other day when the power went out, we also had the guy come out to look at our AC because it's from 1994 is what John said. And I was like, oh, that's not that old. And I thought about it, and I was like, oh, that's 26 years. Because I'm 25 this year. And, yeah, so I might actually have to pay for the AC, because apparently the only way we can get a new one is if we find someone who has a credit score of 700 or higher. So, but here's the thing. If I buy the AC, get that on my credit score, it helps my credit go up a lot, apparently, allegedly, according to my friend. And so if that happens, I might actually have a better chance of getting a car later and getting a Best Buy credit card, which is what I wanted to do in order to get a camera, so I don't have to pay $1,100 outright for a fucking camera. But my big purchases in mind right now are a new camera and a laptop. I don't necessarily need a really big, powerful laptop, but it would be nice to have the option of editing on my laptop sometimes instead of on my desktop. So, like, $1,100 for a new camera, a decent beginner style type of camera. Probably need to buy a lens for it as well. At least a telephoto lens or a wide angle lens. I think I'm okay with this stuff being my hobby for now. I do want to go to school for photography or graphic design, or still that stuff is on my mind. It's just that I need so much therapy to deal with my baggage about school, I feel like. And also, it doesn't help a lot when I feel like my mom doesn't support me going to college. It's not that she doesn't support me going to college, it's like, not right now. I don't know. I know that she wants me to go to college in a sense that she wants me to do what I want to do. But it just, she never says what she actually means. This sounds dumb. I don't want to get into this conversation about my mom right now. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I need more coffee. I Hello, coffee gods. Can you drop off a coffee stork? Is that even a sentence? Yeah, I think it's funny because hurricanes are so far outside of anything I think to prepare for anymore. Because you don't get hurricanes in Colorado, and if you do, something is wrong with the earth. I mean, we knew that already, but still. Yeah. Damn, I really didn't have much else to talk about. Sorry, this podcast, guys, is not really the best thing. Right now. I mean, I guess, I don't know, like, see, everybody's different, and I forget that not everybody thinks the way that I do. So although I probably wouldn't find this podcast very entertaining, there are probably a bunch of people out there that would find this entertaining. And I constantly think about how it, like, in a sense, does blue look like blue to everybody? And like, no. Like, not everybody sees blue in the same shade, if that makes sense. I don't even know what I'm trying to say at this point. I think about, like, sometimes you think, oh, what if I were this person, and what would I do if I were them? But, like, what you're really thinking about is what would it be like if your brain was inside that person's body? But I think sometimes what I'm actually thinking about is what would it be like to be inside that person's body and also be in that person's mind, not as myself. So, like, what if I was that person? What if I thought the way that they thought? And it's hard to imagine because you can't think any other way than the way that you think. Like, even if you completely understand the way someone else thinks, you can't necessarily just for a moment change the way that you see and feel things and perceive things just to see what it's like. And I think that's one of the interestingly unique things about experiences as a living being, right? Or even as a conscious being. Because, like, we're conscious of our experiences in some way, shape, or form, whether it's just by feeling it or being also, like, self-aware of how our experiences affect other people. But it's like a dog still experiences things. They just aren't self-aware that they're not aware that they experience things, but they know that things happen to them. Does any of this make any sense? I feel like I'm just going on a crazy, like, Kanye West level rant right now. But I don't know, man. People are weird. And I don't know why people, like, okay. So I know someone who keeps getting frustrated that shops or, like, places aren't open or anything. And, like, is kind of questioning why we have to wear masks because, you know, I'm not sick or all this other stuff. And I keep getting really frustrated with them because what it comes down to at the end of the day is caring about people other than yourself. And it comes back to, like, how being self-aware of how your experiences affect other people's experiences. Like, yeah, we're healthy. We're fine. No, we don't wear masks for us. I mean, I do because I have asthma and diabetes, but, like, theoretically, healthy people aren't wearing the masks for them. They're wearing it for other vulnerable people like me that have asthma and diabetes. And what this person doesn't seem to understand, who also has asthma and diabetes, is that they are wearing masks for themselves and for me and for their parents. And yeah, I don't know what's wrong with the world. It's like we've taken... I literally don't even know how to start evaluating the world because it's so convoluted and like... It's like people care so much about things that don't matter. Like at the end of the day, like what the president says doesn't fucking matter. Because like, I'm not saying that he's just a distraction. Obviously, he's part of the problem. But he does a lot of the things that he does to pull our attention away from other things. And he exists the way that he exists in the world in order to keep attention on him instead of what's happening behind closed doors. Because all of a sudden, one day, we're just like, oh, he signed this into law. And we're like, well, where were we when it was going through Congress? Or like, obviously people must have known about this stuff beforehand, but we were so distracted by Trump tweeting something about fucking North Korea that we didn't see it coming. And so, I don't know. And the media is so like, if Donald Trump as a press figure, no, I'm not even going to say that. The media is sucking on the teat of the man. That's all I can say. That's the easiest way to say it. And it's just so like, and I'm sure people felt this way back in 2015 and 2016 too. It's just that back then I was still realizing that and putting things together and being disappointed by people that I looked up to and realizing that they are part of the elite in a sense. And I think now I'm so apathetic and I have so little hope for media and I'm so anti-capitalist and I'm so done with the way that our world exists and runs and the way that we treat people. And I'm like over it and I don't want anything to do with it. And I kind of, honestly, I think my goal at the moment is to be able to build my own house someday, in the middle of nowhere, completely 100% eco-friendly with like solar panels for electricity and, you know, a lake with clean water in it. Hopefully there's no nuclear plants nearby poisoning me. But I just want to have a weed farm and to be able to live off the grid in a sense. Not off the grid in the sense that I don't want electricity, but away from everybody and like money and society. It's so fucking broken. It's so broken. And it breaks us. And I'm really tired of seeing people I love break. So, yeah, I don't know. Who else wants to cultivate the weed farm and come live with me in my culty weed farm house? Culty weed farm. Oh. Well, I think that's it for me today, guys. I don't know if I'll ever be able to film an entire hour's worth of me talking. I don't even know if anyone wants to hear that. I don't even want to make it. I do like listening to podcasts, though. So, I don't know. I hope you guys are doing okay. To all my friends in Denver, I hope that when I come back, it doesn't take too long for us to catch up. I hope things aren't so different that it feels like I missed out on people's lives. Even though I know that I'm going to feel that way no matter what. I think I did make the right decision coming here. Especially looking back now, like, I don't think I would have survive the pandemic had I stayed, just because I didn't have anywhere to go really, and I had no car, and yeah, dude, I don't know. So hopefully I'll be back soon. Working on it every day. I feel like I'm making a lot of progress with my mental health. And we always say that, and then we, take 7 steps backwards, but that's just how it happens sometimes. Anyway, I would like to have some more structure into my podcast eventually. I just don't want to hold myself to any restrictions at the moment or any format. I want to kind of give myself the freedom to just kind of do whatever I want and talk about whatever I want to talk about. That seems to have a lot of success for people like D'Angelo Wallace. So, all right, guys, have a good night. Don't die, and make sure to subscribe. Make sure to like the video on YouTube, and leave me a comment. Tell me what you guys want to hear next. What topics you might be interested in listening to. Maybe I'll figure out a way to ask questions to people and get feedback somehow, and we can do that as a podcast. We'll see. We'll see where it goes. I'm always thinking up here in the old noggin about new ideas, and honestly, I want to redo the logo every day just because I'm just feeling really inspired lately, so that's been nice. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I'll see you next week.